everyone. So yeah, we're not done with food waste. We just had a 20-minute presentation. My name is Benjamin. I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to try not to repeat too much what has been said. I think it was a good overview of the current situation in the industry. What I would like to do with you today is to share a bit more about our personal experience when it comes to that specific issue, specifically in the hotel industry in Southeast Asia. So I started Lephilibert about 5 years ago and started specifically on the topic of food waste prevention about 4 years ago. And what we found is pretty disturbing or perverse, as Ryan said earlier. And I would like to unveil a couple of those bottlenecks. But before digging into that specific topic, someone is clicking for me. Thanks. Let's play. That's pretty cool, no? To start in the morning. I have a couple of the best chocolate in the world, actually, Kinder, for those that are willing to play. I would like you to take your phone from your pocket. Those of you that are working in restaurants or hotels, please do take your phone. It's not every time that a speaker asks you to take your phone when they are speaking, right? So take it as an option to possibly win some amazing chocolate. Okay, so if you're a hotel or restaurant, take the number of covers that you're selling on average per month. Then you multiply by 12, multiply by 0.3, and multiply by 5. Can I see a couple of hands? I would like to know, actually those who are going to win are those with the highest figure. So can I see hands for those that have more than 50,000 on their phone? Stop lying, guys. I saw all those that had raised their hands saying that they're working in the hotels and restaurants. More than 50,000, please. Okay, more than 100. I think there is a lot of people that are lying here. It's all right. We're going to cover why. Sorry, no chocolate for you guys. We're going to end up at the end. I'm going to show you exactly why we did that specific thing. So why is food waste an issue? I will not repeat what has been covered before. This still doesn't work. Slide, please. Or am I pointing to the wrong issue? Okay, on the social side, I think what has been covered is very important. 1/3 of everything we produce is actually lost. What is interesting as well is to know that there is basically 850 million people that are not eating enough. And who is in charge of flicking? 800, thank you. 850 million people that do not eat enough every day, when there is 2.2 billion people that are actually suffering from obesity or are overweight. So that's just like to show like the absurdity of the situation. This presentation is going to be difficult if you don't give me control out of the images. Okay, very well. So on the other aspect related to the impact of food waste, what we see is something that breaks my heart. Chocolate has the highest water footprint. I was shocked and I was completely depressed for a couple of days. But at the same time, when I realized that actually the water footprint of beer was actually the lowest, it reassured me. So guys, keep on enjoying beers because it's earth friendly. Slide, please. It's going to be boring, guys. if there is no pace, but slide, please. This one doesn't work. No. Forget about the video. It's all right. So, slide, please. Yeah, the main issue. Okay, guys. The real issue is that in the hotel industry, what we found out is that the entire industry is somehow fooling itself. By fooling is actually not accepting the severity of the situation and how seriously it can impact the bottom line. Slide, please. Perception gap. I love this one. We systematically, when we start with hotels, we come in and we ask generally like the chefs, okay, how many kilos you think you're wasting on a daily basis? And I'm talking about large hotels. And it's very interesting to see like the gap between what they think the situation is and what the reality of the situation. So first time we did that in a hotel, I was like, okay, how many kilos? The chef was like, maybe 100, 120 kilos. And it turned out to be like 600 plus. Started again with another one. They were like, 80, 100 kilos. It was more than a ton per day. There was a moment I was depressed. So there is a complete lack of understanding about like what is really happening versus what is perceived as the situation. Slide, please. Lack of understanding is an important issue as well. The understanding about the issue was touched upon earlier, is very important. Slide, please. So where is food waste happening? This is like roughly if you take food being from the moment it is being purchased all the way to the customer. Those are what we call the food waste generation points. Every moment that food can potentially be lost. Click, please. What is very interesting here is that this actually can represent, click, up to 50%, which is completely out of proportion compared to what usually chefs tend to think. They tend to think that chefs and hoteliers in general, that food waste is because of the buffet, food waste is because of the customer, but there is probably a bit that is being lost like before. But actually, this is based on several hotels that we work with for 5 to 6 months, where they were collecting more than 200 data per day with up to 8 different recording stations throughout the hotel. So it's very specific sort of information. So this is one of the key issues, like understanding of where is food waste happening on the chain. The other issue, click please, is actually when is it happening? So when in terms of, is it breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Is it rather Monday, Friday, Sunday? Which season is it has an impact on the amount of food waste? Then what is going to the bin? Click, please. Where is it happening? When? Click, thank you. Why? And finally, how much? How much food is being wasted is usually, as was presented earlier, the big issue. There is no quantification, and without quantification, it's very hard to manage. Click, please. But more fundamentally, I think that's probably the biggest issue that we unveil is more a structural issue. Currently, the gold standard in the industry is the food cost percentage, right? Everybody is about the food cost. Food cost is like, okay, this is, if you hit your food cost, no question asked. Click, please. But the issue is that the food cost is only reflecting like how much is purchased versus how much it is sold. So how good are your margin? It does not reflect what is being lost in the process. If you sell high enough, then it's good. And we have seen situation discussing with food and beverage directors of big hotels. And we're like, okay, it seems that you have a good food cost, but what we're analyzing is that on a daily basis, there is 1,000 kilos going to the bin. Is there an issue here? Can you click, please? But we found out that this 1,000 kilo, click, thank you, was actually representing in that situation 35%. 35% of all the food purchased in these hotels are going to the bin. Do you see the absurdity of the situation? 35% is just, it's mind-blowing. There is no, I cannot think of any other industry that is so wasteful in that respect. Because as was mentioned before, it's big money. 35% or this 1 ton per day that was in one big hotel, as I mentioned, represent on a yearly basis $1.5 million. And you would think, okay, that's the moment everybody's like, hey, that's cool, there's so much cash at hand, let's do something about it. No. What happened was like, oh shit, this is way too big. My boss is gonna kick my ass. And the owners as well are gonna come back to me and ask me, how many years have you been working here? Okay, you actually cost the company $4.5 million. So reaction were actually going the opposite way and say, oh, we don't want to deal with this, and we got shut down. It was not convenient enough. It was not like, let's save $30,000, $50,000. It was like, okay, let's cut by 20%, which is easily achievable, and you're going to save $300,000. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to save $300,000. Word by word, we heard this from a F&B director. If I cut my food cost by 3 points, I'm in deep shit. See what I mean? Like, they're losing face, they're losing budget. They are basically not showing a good picture of their own work. Click, please. So basically, your food costs doesn't mean that you are necessarily on top of your game, in a nutshell. Click, please. So, solution exists. Click, please. It's going to be boring, huh? What I would like to present to you today is an initiative that we help to develop with other scholars and professionals, which is the first industry standard related to food waste prevention. TCEP, which is sponsoring this event, was kind enough as well to promote this initiative and to provide subsidies for organizations in Thailand that are actually adopting the pledge and other food waste related initiatives, which is very, it's an amazing sign of thought leadership, because even in the most advanced countries, we haven't seen like similar initiative by the government. Click, please. So, in a nutshell, very important. This is the food waste pyramid, which is used as probably the most important learning material. Focus is on reduction. There is a lot of misunderstanding about, hey, it's fine, I'm dealing with my food waste, I'm transforming it, I'm having like composting, or I'm sending it to pig farms, which is good, it's better than landfill, but hey, you want to go up the scale. The main focus for this certification is the reduction. Then there are other options related to feeding people and feeding animal. Click, please. So backbone, yeah, I guess you can click 9 times. Backbone of the certification is basically, I don't know, click, 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 click. Policy, monitoring system, which was mentioned earlier, fundamental. Financial KPIs, what other indicators can be taken by your organization to look at your performance from a slightly different angle, not only food costs, but what else can be taken. So I forgot to mention, it's very interesting to see that in most of the hotels, and actually in quite a lot of restaurants as well, there is currently no knowledge, for instance, of how many kilos are you purchasing on average per month. How many kilos does that represent per cover that you're actually serving? And we found out that there are situations where they are purchasing up to 2.3 kilos per cover. When you know that people are consuming, on average, 500 grams, you think that, okay, there is seriously a disconnect here. So financial KPIs, best practices are the backbone, of course, of this certification, which is, remember the food waste generation points? Those are covered, best practice versus existing practices. Employees training is central. Customer engagement is the final frontier. There are a lot of people that are concerned about engaging with the customers. So this is embedded, staff campaign, and redistribution and transformation. Click, please. It is based on technology that is cloud-based to collect and analyze data that are related to food waste. Again, it is very important to have this embedded in the system. Click, please. This is a case study of one of our partners, again, that was kindly supported by the government here in Thailand. In 10 months, they cut their food costs by more than 3 points. Most importantly, they reduced their cost per cover by 12 points, translating into 2 million baht plus, which is around $75,000. This is one property, and it was in 1 month. Click, please. Basically, click, click, click 3 times. This is horrible. Click. Click. Awesome. Basically, what we want is to aggregate solution providers around the topic of food waste. Tech providers, as was presented earlier. Apps providers in Singapore, in Europe. You have Too Good To Go in Singapore, the 11th Hour. All those apps that are providing last-minute offers for food items that are about to expire. Service providers like food banks or training providers. other beneficiaries. We were discussing yesterday with Ryan about like the pig farms or the animal for everything for transformation, for animal feeds. All those have an interest in having more people taking the pledge, and people taking the pledge have interest in partnering with those solution providers to have extra points in their certification level out of 100. Click, please. Click, 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 click. The idea is to be able to provide some sort of a frame that can help solve the issue, not only in the hospitality industry or the hotel industry, but in every, I would say, verticals where food is wasted on a daily basis, from school catering, cruise lines, in-flight catering. Situation is just dramatic. There is something that needs to be done. And we realize that by having this push from the consumer side will make people change their I would say, their perception and the way they handle food waste. Click, please. Click, please. So what we have been calculating earlier, as you can imagine, click, was actually the yearly costs of food waste in US dollar. Calculation is simple. You take the yearly number of covers, time average in the industry, specifically for a high-end, around 350 grams per cover, time $5, which is the average cost of food at the purchasing level. That gives you an overview. It's a rule of thumb. I encourage you to try it if you are doubting, like what is the current cost for your operation. And I hope that together we can make a difference and that you will look at this from a different angle. Thank you.